Hi, this is Dr. Duresti with the Cranial Release Technique, and I wanted to speak briefly today, being that it's the sort of the end of September, about back to school, back to work, vacation's over. And I can remember vividly going to many chiropractic and alternative healthcare trade shows. Sometimes I was speaking, sometimes I was in the vendor area, explaining the concepts behind cranial release technique. And I distinctly remember that the people on one side of me would probably have the lights and the cameras and the special effects and the special screens, and someone else would have all sorts of different types of displays. And I'm not knocking that. That's fine for what they were doing. And I would show up with a table and a plastic skull and my plastic sphere explaining the concepts of the cranial release technique. Because at the end of the day, the sizzle, if you will, of cranial release is the patient actually getting on the table and having me put their hands on their head for a minute, or one of my instructors, doesn't have to be me, and applying the cranial release technique and having them get off the table like the lights were just turned on. A friend of mine sort of suggested cranial release technique is sort of like hitting the reset button, either on your computer or on a phone, or restarting the phone. It's sort of reconnecting the brain with the body. And the beauty is it takes all of a minute to do. So I was just thinking this morning, the lights, the camera, the action, none of which that I had, not because I didn't want it or didn't like it, but because I didn't need it. I wanted it to be simple. I wanted it to be as pure as I could with cranial release technique, having the patient come into the booth, doing a test or two before to show them that there were weaknesses, there were imbalances, having the patient get on the table, applying the technique, having them get off, retesting all in a minute or two, and for them to say, wow, how is it that you, with this 1 minute technique that you touched my head, changed my leg length, changed the way I'm breathing, changed my shoulders, changed my face, changed everything. I have a calmness, they would say. I feel at peace. And it was nice if the event lasted 2, 3, 4 days, because I would always encourage them to come back the next day and give me an update. And invariably they would all say, oh, I slept great. Oh, I feel different. I feel this. I feel that. So much can be accomplished in just a minute if you do this technique correctly. A specific contact point, specific vector, specific amount of force, and of course the key, which we touched on the last video, of course the patient is alive. And because they're alive, they have the innate intelligence within them. And that intelligence is doing its best to be as healthy and as prosperous and as wonderful as possible. But one of the things that happen is because these cranial bones shift and rock, and that tension takes place in the brain and central nervous system, of course it's very difficult for that person to be all that they were designed to be. So the CRT technique, the cranial release technique, is designed to do one thing and one thing only: reestablish normal cranial alignment, reestablish Dr. Sutherland's primary respiratory mechanism, and let the body function optimally on its own. And if you're sitting there and you're saying, well, I'm a chiropractor, or I'm an acupuncture, I'm an acupuncturist, or I'm a physical therapist, or I'm a massage therapist, or I'm an osteopath, or I'm a naturopath, why should I bother learning CRT? I already have skills, I already have tools in my toolbox. And I agree. And I'm on your side. Heaven knows any of us on the holistic side, I give us all credit for what we're doing, because it's very easy to jump onto the other side. But on this side of the fence, on the holistic side, all I'm saying is I would invite you to explore what adding a 1-minute technique could do to your toolbox. It could help you be a better acupuncturist, a better chiropractor, a better naturopath, a better physical therapist, occupational therapist, massage therapist, whatever it is that you do when you put your hands on a patient. So I wanted to thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me this morning. If you haven't gone to the website cranialrelease.com, cranialrelease.com, if you're a patient or if you're someone out there that would like to experience cranial release, visit the website, click on the Find a Practitioner button. If you're a practitioner out there and you'd like to learn more about this work, cranialrelease.com, click on the online training button and you can watch some other videos and learn more about the training and how that works. If you're not a subscriber on YouTube, please go to my YouTube channel, cranialrelease.com. You can subscribe there. You can also join us on Facebook at Cranial Release Technique, of which this video will be posted both on YouTube and on the Facebook page. And I think that's it for now. So remember, the lights, the camera, the action was really the 1-minute CRT. And kind of the lights, the camera, the action took place in the patient's skull, in the cranium, in the central nervous system, where all control of all functions in the body is found. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous day. Goodbye.